We're live with you tonight. You're on In Focus. The organization Undoing Tax Abuse says it's alarmed at the growing threat by communities to boycott payment of municipal services. OUTA told a South African Institute of Chartered Accountants webinar that it has fielded several calls by communities who are fed up with paying for services they do not receive. Joining us now on how this is going to impact on service delivery is OUTA Executive Manager for Social Innovation, Julius Kleynhans. Julius, good evening and thank you very much for your time. Which communities are organizing in such a manner? How are they doing it and what is their objective?
Tabo, we see it mostly in smaller communities, smaller municipalities throughout the country where service delivery has become really a big problem. In the cities, I think it's fairly better. We've seen now in the in Quebec, there is much bigger issues down there in the Eastern Cape. But in general, I think civil society are just fed up. And, we've been paying more and more for rates and taxes every year, over a decade now, but services have declined. It's not getting better. Our municipalities aren't looking better at all. And we're getting empty promises year by year. And we're seeing billions of rands being wasted. And we don't see the proper basic services being delivered.
Are people seeing a link, for example, with better service delivery when they raise issues, when they complain to officials, when they go to municipal employees? Are they seeing any difference at all?
Look, one must be careful because there's a lot of good employees in the municipality still out there. But in general, no. People don't see anything happening when they raise their voices. In fact, Tabo, in general, if you do business, if you go into any private business, it's so competitive. Client service is key. They need to treat you as a customer and properly so. We've seen in our municipalities that there's almost this sense of entitlement where, if you go stand in a queue, you are treated like rubbish. And you're the person paying their salaries. You're the person that is actually the shareholder of that municipality. It's not the political guys and the municipal officials. They're supposed to be public servants. And that has to change. If you look in general, and I think this is something we haven't mentioned in SAICA, but touched on it in our session the other day. A big company, a corporate company that's listed on the JSE, they've got, if you look at the chairman, if you look at the CEO, if you look at the whole executive, these are properly qualified people of years of experience and they've got oversight and are responsible for an enormous budget of billions of rands. But compare that to the municipality. Look at the quality of people that's in the municipality who's running it. Look who's making the decisions. And you know what? The budgets of a listed company and some of our municipalities are basically the same. So we need to professionalize public service. We need to professionalize our local governments. A municipality must give basic services. Yeah. And the businesses and the people will stimulate the economy. If municipalities can just put the infrastructure in place and maintain it, South Africa will turn around.
So you're saying you've been getting calls. People are saying, no, let's stop paying rates. Let's boycott rates. They are raising this throughout South Africa. Is there a sense that they're saying, let's just stop and that's it? Or are they stopping and taking those resources and putting them elsewhere? How else do they think they will get services if they completely stop paying rates?
It's a very good point you're making, and we believe it is dangerous to do a full-on boycott. The problem with that is, and I know people are emotional about this, but you cannot just withhold rates and taxes. If people are organized enough and they do it properly and they do it through a good governance perspective on the side, you might have a case-by-case scenario where you can succeed and do it sustainably. However, if people just generalize and, they're not organized and they withhold rates and taxes, it's illegal. That's the first thing. The other thing is that you might see that communities might never pay taxes again. There might just be this bad tendency of paying for these services in the future. But, we need to look at sustainable mechanisms, and that's how communities need to become organized. They need to exercise their rights properly. Businesses need to come to the party. And then we need to be the voice that government reckons with. If we get organized well enough in our communities, the question needs to be in the future, what are politicians for? And maybe those council positions may become redundant. That said, I think that's a discussion for another day, but it is very important to do it correctly. But I think the point that people are facing, or where they are at the moment, is you live in that municipality. Every day you wake up there, your kids go to school there, you invest there, you go to work there, you live there. So you cannot wait for the next 5 to 10 years for some politician to come and to come fix a pothole in front of your house anymore. In fact, there's not enough capacity in municipalities to fix our municipalities. We need to step up. We need to become part of it. But I think we need to get organized well enough so that government doesn't have a choice but to listen to us. And then we need to start, slowly but surely go into the right direction and move and turn around our municipalities. That's very important. But I think, there are towns in the country that are just at such a point where the citizens don't have a choice. They have to intervene and do something. Unfortunately, the structures of government and the political side of things are so messy, and it's become so ugly that, even where there are civil society that's doing good and they're fixing the problems, the courts and the legislation are still on the side of government. Yeah. And, then you find yourself where you're giving something that you fix back to the same people who messed it up.
Is it possible to be future-looking, to be looking at rebuilding, for example, municipalities? Say, for example, municipalities that were previously governed by the ANC, now being governed by Democratic Alliance or the IFP or any other party, being owed billions of rands. I mean, is it possible for those municipalities to begin this rebuilding work, being owed so much? I mean, entities, government entities being said to be owed, for example, in the city of Cape Town, 7.5 billion rands.
Oh, look, no doubt about that. I think we're seeing some drastic measures put in place where debt is collected, and that's the right thing. If you use a service, you need to pay for it. But I think where we need to be very careful is that there's also a thing called free basic services, and Treasury allocates funds every year towards that, and it's important because we need to look after marginalized communities. However, in our municipalities, if you don't have an accurate marginalized, or they call it an indigent register, you don't know how much money you need to allocate for free basic service. So it really comes down to professionalizing the public service, cutting the fat, getting rid of cadre deployment. That's serious things. And Thabo, I think when you see stability in a municipality and there's a willingness to change it, there's no doubt that civil society and businesses will back you and get behind you. But I cannot see the politics of the day leading the way. And what we need to be careful of, and this is where the real power lies, it's really with you and I. It's really with the residents, because we are the shareholders of our municipality. And if you look at, you mentioned now the ANC and the DA, we cannot rely on political structures. It's a 5 to 5 year cycle. They place two people in front of you that you need to vote for at the voters' roll, who you might never have even heard of. And I think, if we want to revolutionize, if they want to call it like that, or just become a bit more up to date with things, we need to be more organized in our communities. Residents need to participate in local government affairs, and we need to elect community leaders in our own space, who we know, who we trust. There's so many forums and residents associations and all these things alike, and you will find in every community the same guy and lady on the school governing board. The same of them would be in a ward committee. They will be in a community policing forum. These are our leaders in our communities that serve us every day voluntarily. And I believe that these are the people that need to serve us in a local government space as well. It's very sad to see how the politics of the day has become more of a career, where a councillor sees this ladder they want to climb through their life and a career, and they report to the party lines. They report to the top structures if they want to get there one day.
So are you saying those smaller communities feel like an independent candidate would serve them better, so they will be more willing to pay for services if, for example, a municipality is led by an independent candidate?
I don't think anyone will have a problem to pay for good service or products that they receive. But it is ridiculous to have to, Thabo, I communicated to some Hammanskraal members the other day. They are paying, and this is impoverished communities, for waters that's substandard. And then, you find that old people can't walk to water tankers. You have to pay for additional youngsters to go and fetch water for them. I think if you've got proper leaders that stay in your community that you can hold to account, you know where they stay, you live with them, and they serve you, it will definitely change the politics of the day. So yes, independent council sounds good, but they need not report to top structures. They must report to the people in their community. Call it what you want, but I suppose from a legislative point of view, yes, it is probably independent councillors. But regardless of that, they are only individuals. One has to create different structures to look at all the different elements in your community and think about it where you stay. It is safety, it is roads infrastructure, it's water, it is environment, it is education, it is health services, it's even your policing. So we need to start looking at a holistic view on this, and we need to stop trying to protect ourselves in a little cocoons or wanting to move, or, we need to start doing something. And small little things every day will definitely turn things around.
Julius Kleynhans, I appreciate your time. Thanks for coming on, Executive Manager for Social Innovation at OUTA.